Welcome to Role Play Cafe. I am Jason. With me is Dell. And Dell has been working on Dawn of Man for quite some time. This is one of the games that we're hoping to add to our game library, along with Space Age of Man. So Dell's going to run me through a little playtest of Dawn of Man. We wrote this a while back. We didn't. Dell wrote this a while back as Stone Age of Man, and we just tweaked the name. And he's made a couple of addition changes. So I am going to play a hunter-gatherer with a spark of 3, which means I get 3 chips to use like an attribute. So basically, spark is like your life force, or right, Dell? Is that it's like your hit points?
It depending on how you want to apply them, it's a combination of your basically your spark of life. You can allocate some of them to your immediate, to your hit points.
Okay. Or
your wound points. Okay.
Right, and we use D6. Right, we're using D6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can use a D6 now. Now I am toying with the weapons and tools that we have additionally. That would be another dice to roll. So if we're rolling for an excellent tool or whatever like that, we can either scale up. And this is the part. One of the things when we test like a poor tool of 1d6, or either we can go like a d8 for.
For now, let's just make it an extra die, right? If I have a tool, I just get an extra die.
Yeah, because you could do as far as odds being to your detriment. But I'll explain that as we go.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, right. That could be. I gotcha. Right. So that would just maybe make it worse for me. I gotcha. Okay. Okay. So I'm Ugwa with a spark of 3, and I'm a hunter-gatherer. This is Dawn of Man, November 2nd, 2022. You have seen it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
Imagine if Gary Gygax in 1971 had been able to record his very first Dungeons and Dragons.
There we go. The first playtest of this game.
Yeah.
Right. It's all theory until it's the table.
Yeah, they'll be quoting Del Branham in 55 years from now. Well, Del said, Dawn of Man. Right? They'll be arguing over what Del Branham said about his own game, right?
Yeah, and your character's name was Ugwa?
I'm not telling you, man.
Ugwa? That's what I'm going to call you. Ugly.
Ugwah. Ugwa.
Ugwa.
Gwa. No. Gwa. No. Gwa.
With the
Gwa.
Ugwa. There you go.
No. Gwa.
There you go. Ugwa. You awaken, chill to the bone. And when I mean chill to the bone, I mean chill to the bone. You're surprised you slept so late because it is so bitterly cold. You lay on the floor of a cave. You see the entrance off a little bit. The sun is already broken through, and the rays are coming through the mist. And in the harsh, wintry ice of that is encrusted around the entrance of the cave, the cavern that you're sleeping in, and shines in your eyes. It's very silent. The last thing that you remember, or that you know of, was that you had gone out to collect for your village, and you stowed away in the cavern as it got rather late, and the snow started pelting harshly. So you just ducked in there for some kind of cover to stay away from the storm.
Okay.
But your village was probably half a day's travel to where the sun sets, in the direction of where the sun sets.
Okay.
And that's as far as your direction.
I'm going to investigate this cavern and see if it goes any further back.
Okay.
Now, it's Dawn of Man, but Do we have fire?
Yeah, yeah, you definitely have.
So my fire went out on me last night. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, I'm telling you that you did not. Uh, it doesn't seem that the fire that you had much success in starting a fire.
Okay.
You do have uh, your skins wrapped around you tightly, and some of the it looks like some of the you've gathered up some twigs and moss and whatnot and grass and tried to pack yourself in a little bit of the corner of the cave.
I'm going to grab up my club. If I had very little success starting a fire, then I'm not going to investigate any deeper into the cave without fire. So I'll head for the mouth of the cave and assess. Really try to get into the sunlight to warm my body as the sun's coming up.
Yeah, it was bitterly cold last night. The wind was happening and blowing into the mouth of the cave. So you'll see that spilling of the snow out into some of the cave, which probably didn't aid you in trying to start a fire. You do have the know-how to do it, around your camp or whatever with the branches, but it was too wet. You weren't dealing with any kind of dry.
I smiled to myself as I now realize it'll be much easier to hunt with fresh snow.
Yeah. The cave, if you take a look around the cave, which is more illuminated than when you entered last night, late, whenever you ducked in, you see that the recesses of where it goes back for a good, in our estimation, probably about 20 foot, but it goes down rapidly in height and dips to the floor, to where it burrows back, but it's too small for you to enter past there.
Okay. Right? Okay. I'll get my club out. I'll get my stone dagger.
Okay.
I'm going to affix the stone dagger to the end of the club. As my goal is to hunt something so I can take it back to the tribe. I want to get bigger game.
Okay. You're fixing that. I'm sure you can look around for some kind of hemp rope or twine or some kind of.
Yeah, or I'll tear loose some of my skins and affix it to the club. I want a longer weapon with a sharp edge if I hunt larger game. And then I'll stand out once I do this. I'll stand out and let the sun warm my body. And then I'll begin to look for tracks.
Okay, I want you to roll on roll a three dice, 3 difficulty. And this is just to find out how successfully your fingers are frozen.
What do I need?
You're still trying to
roll up.
You need more. You need more evens than odds. Odds are failures in this.
Okay, I got I got 3 odds. 5, 5, 1.
Okay. Well, you attach
this
it.
System
I'm not
sucks.
Gonna say, yeah, you attach it, but
who invented this? This stinks.
Just saying.
Already, I have failed.
You know that you haven't succeeded in. It's passable, but you've made far better weapons before, right?
Sure.
And your hands are cold and numb and whatever like that. So you're going to be rolling a basic. It's a poor weapon. All right, is what we've come to the realization.
Oh, gotcha. Okay? So I have a poor weapon. Okay.
But it'll do. It'll do for the meantime to get you through to get what you need. So are you good? You going out into the?
I'm going to start trying to find tracks to hunt game. Well, whether they're something larger, deer or.
Okay. The snow is laying like 9 inches at least.
Wow.
In depth, and it on top of the, of course, out into the entrance of the cave is kind of billowed up. You have to kick through there to get through. The boughs of the trees are bending because it's so heavy with it, and every once in a while you can hear a snap and a break. It's very quiet out there, right? Mm-hmm. So if you want to look around for,
I'm looking around for tracks, scat, something.
Yeah. Well, go ahead. Roll. I want you to roll 3 dice, and this is where, at your discretion, you use spark chips to offset any negatives to more secure your
okay.
victory.
Do I decide that before I roll or after I roll?
Yes, you have to do this. You
Okay,
go
well,
with it
well,
until.
I already rolled, so I'll take this. But I had one success, two failures.
Yeah, well, you don't find anything right now as far as it's been covered up. Maybe what you see is early enough in the morning that everything's still burrowed away, and it
Okay.
doesn't look like you're on kind of a ridge a little bit. You ascended somewhat into an area, the rocky crag behind a boulder to get into, so it's a little bit up on the ground. You're not out in the flat yet, but from your vantage point, what you're seeing, you don't see anything.
I'll scoop up
Low.
a handful of snow and eat it for water. So I'll
Okay.
suck down some snow for water, and then I'll turn toward my back to the sun. You say my village is opposite sunrise, correct? Is that what you said?
No. Yeah, to where the sun sets is in that direction. So you
Okay.
can actually follow the sun curve for some
Right.
pretty
So
successful.
you say I'm about a day and a half from the village. I'll head back toward my village, but hunting.
You're about a half days. You're about a half day because you're trying to make your way back to the village when it hit really like it did.
All right.
Expectantly drove you up in the cave.
Okay, then I will. My goal is to still hunt, but I want to be. I don't want to get much further away from my village, so I'll try to cut some of that distance down while hunting. If I have to go circularly around my village to hunt, I'll do that. But I don't want to go all the way back, but I don't want to go any further out, especially now that it's 9 inches of snow on the ground.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as you're doing it, you're trekking your way through the snow. You do know something that stands out glaringly in defiance and indifference to this white, this starkly white. It's so white, and the glare of the snow is almost like you're snow blind. So you're having to squint or whatever, but you do see something in the snow, a good 20 foot, 25 foot as you round you get at a vantage point where you see it laying behind a tree. And it's definitely colored and spackled around that area as your eyes fixate on it, and you gather what it is, but it seems to be red. And being a hunter gatherer, that your first instinct is that this blood led anywhere. You don't see any tracks from you to it though in the thing. There's definitely a heaped up mound with.
And you say it's at the base of a tree?
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as you walking, and then all of a sudden you notice it as you know what I mean. The tree gets out of your way, and you see it.
Gotcha.
But it is the base of the tree behind.
Okay, I look around the horizon in every direction to see if there's any thing or anybody out that like they might have hunted this thing or wounded this thing, or before I approach it, I want to look around, see if there's anybody else out moving around.
Okay, roll 2 dice. That's what you get. Okay, you can use spark at any point in time.
Yeah, I'm going to use one spark here to negate a failure, and I get okay. So I negate my only failure. So I got technically 2 successes or 1 success negating my failure.
Okay. Yeah, you have to supersede your the.
So I did.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. You did. You definitely see somewhat of as your eyes scan the horizon. You notice that, and then you see something clamoring behind another tree that's off, and your eyes do clear up somewhat, and you see prints, and it looks like a 4-legged kind. Leading away from the body, and you see and hear more of the deathly silence, crushing of the snow, and then almost a talon-like grab into the bark, and you hear the bark flake away on the tree, and barely see it flitter down and fall onto the snow, but you catch that glimpse. Because whatever you saw is on the opposite side of that tree that's a little bit further out from the body or the thing, whatever you're viewing.
So this thing went up a tree is what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently so.
Okay, I'm gonna head over to the creature that appears to be dead in the snow or wounded in the snow. I'm headed over there.
Okay. When you look down, it is uh, another man. He seems to be frozen up. The blood is fresh, but it you kind of hard because you'll see that the ice all flecked up on his beard and uh, his locks. He doesn't seem to be from your tribe.
Okay.
You don't recognize him. You do see his tracks that have been pretty much all covered up. You see the remains of his tracks have been snowed in for the most part.
Okay.
So you can assess that his body kind of fell there, and if he was alive at one point before he got raked or whatever, obviously climbed up the tree.
Right. I'll
He's dead now for
check
sure.
his body for any weapons, any food, furs. I'll take anything of value immediately.
There seems to be he's tattooed on different areas of his body.
Yeah.
Looks like to be in some areas to where odd markings that you don't. It's not identifiable. More so than in your tribe that the medicine man will tattoo over certain areas that are bothersome to his patient to ward off any pain or whatnot. And it seems to be a similar type designs as far as on this man. He seems to be a young man, relatively younger than you, about 5 years younger, so 5, 6 to 10 or so in that vein, but he's a real young man. He's face down. He does have a necklace on him. He does have some furs that you can still pull off of, even though they're blood splattered right now.
Yeah, I'll take his furs, any food he's got, any weapons.
Yeah, you do see a cudgel laying
Okay.
buried halfway in the snow from his hand, and his hand's gripped around it, like in a death grip. But grab that up. He seems to be, other than that, he's there's, like I mentioned, the necklace.
Yeah.
It seems to be.
Yeah, I'll pull that free from his neck, hold it up, and look at it.
Now roll 2d6 on this.
2d6.
Yeah.
4, 2 successes.
Okay, great. You do, when you see this dangling in front of you, it strikes an image of you of something in your village center that you've heard is a charm to the shadow through a darkening. It has imagery on it of almost like a man with like the bones of a man in the shape of a man dangling in the center of it. And anyway,
so like
it doesn't set with you.
So it's a charm of a skeleton?
Yeah, around the base of at the end of the necklace.
And you say it doesn't set well with me.
No, it doesn't set well with you in the fact that your medicine man or whatever like that. There's a lot of things that you've been told in your village not to even get near of.
Right.
Your superstition is. He seems to be. You don't want to mess with the medicine man. If it's deed given to him or whatever like that, it might not bode well. You can keep it if you want to.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it, but I won't wear it. I'm gonna hide it in my among my skins and furs. I'm not gonna wear it or out where somebody could see it.
But to you, I mean, it kind of like a bad omen or either something that would attract evil spirits, right? So
maybe
in your mind, maybe that's where it lies.
Okay,
what your gut says. But nevertheless,
and we don't eat. My village doesn't eat people, right? So this is not potential food. So I'm still looking at whatever went up that tree.
No, if your village eats people, then
no.
Let me know.
No, it doesn't.
That's fine with me.
No,
but yeah,
no.
Roll right now. Roll 3d6.
3d6.
Yeah.
Now, I spent 1 spark. When do I get that back?
Okay. Well, the thing is, after whenever you roll, you take that spark you spent and put it into your for 1 round, and then
so
it
I
comes
got it
back
back.
to you
Okay.
on the 2nd round. So now you've got it back. Yeah,
Okay.
it just stays out of pocket for 1
So
round.
if I spend 3 spark, what happens?
Then you get a trickle back of 1 spark per round.
No, but if I spent 3 on this roll, what happens?
Then all 3 would go. You don't want to do that, but all 3 would go into a reserve, and then on the next turn, 1 would come back into your.
So why don't I want to do that?
Well, you have to use them. If you get into any kind of a pitched battle, you have to use those things as hit points.
Gotcha. So if I spend them and I failed all 3 of these rolls, I would be vulnerable.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So I'm rolling 3 of these 3 dice, and I got 1 success, 2 failures.
Okay. Well, you don't recognize. I know you were mindful of whatever scampered up the tree.
Yeah.
And there are branches and boughs, and right now, like I said, the snow is falling down in drifts around you, all around you, and hear the creaking of the boughs starting to creak, and then you hear a roar, as it seems from your left, as you were, taking the accoutrements off the dead man. There's a roar and a drop into the snow as you look, and you see a rather large cat.
Perfect.
Not that far from you.
He has fallen into my hunter's trap. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah, he's like 15 foot away from you, and he lands in the snow. But he is wasting no time whatsoever on you.
Yeah,
so
I smile as I turn to face it, as this is exactly what I needed. I'd rather get something here than chase it around.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, that's the situation. He's loping at you right now at a fast speed, but you can do an action before he.
Yeah, I'm going to set myself with my weapon and this cudgel. So now I have my weapon and a cudgel, and I'm going to wait for him to get close, and I'm just going to start wailing on this thing. I got to kill it so I can take it back and feed my village.
So you got a cudgel and you get the weapon with the cut with.
Yeah, I have my poor weapon and his cudgel.
Gotcha.
And I'm going to spend 2 spark on this roll. I'm rolling 3 dice, right?
No, what I want you to do is you are a hunter-gatherer, so you get to use that extra thing, and you get to use I
get an extra chip for my hunter-gatherer. Gotcha.
You get a D6 for your weapon, and you get a extra chip for your hunter-gatherer using that. Now, the 3 chips that you have, you can still use them, whatever portion you want to spark.
Well, I'm going to use 1. I'm going to use 1 spark, my hunter-gatherer chip. Yep.
But literally, if every time you get a wound, it will take away 1 from your reserve. So if you put 2 of them in your defense pool, which if you have a defensive posture, which if he's running at you, you kind of would. And then if you take 1 hit, one of those, one of the chips would be down. It would take.
So let me get this straight. I have 3 hit points and an extra chip. That's hunter-gatherer.
Yeah,
so I'm going to put the hunter-gatherer in this deal. I'm going to put another spark toward this combat, which leaves me with 2 spark left.
Now you can put 3 spark in your defense, and you can put one for your weapon.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
1 for your gear that you're utilizing.
Okay.
1 for your ability of hunter-gatherer, and then you can use those 3 however you want to do that.
Okay, so basically I got a weapon, which is so a weapon counts as a dice, or it counts as a token?
Oh, it counts as a, this gives you, no, it counts as a dice.
Okay.
It counts as a dice itself.
Okay, so I want to make sure we get this right.
Yeah.
So I have 4 chips. 3 are my life force. 1 is my skill, because I'm a hunter-gatherer. I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold back 2 for defense, and then I'm going to put another spark into my attack. So I'm holding back just 2 spark. in
Okay, yeah,
defense.
you're holding back. Yeah, and you're putting two in defense, and then you got one. You got two in your hand to play. You got
Correct,
two in
and
hand to play.
I'm playing those as an attack when this thing gets close.
Yeah. Now, whenever you're rolling the extra die for your weapon, that'll be a freebie of sorts. It don't count against you on the negative. It only counts if it's effective to it. But it also has a chance to break on one.
Okay.
Or to be downgraded. But in your case, it's automatic breaks. It's a full weapon. Okay.
Okay.
Whenever you're rolling, you just get to see if that extra dice has any positive effects, but not a negative.
Correct.
All right.
Okay. So, but I'm rolling 3 for this combat.
You're rolling the number of
chips.
Hold on. You're rolling. Jeez, can't believe this. You only use chips to offset any kind of negative rolls. You're rolling the number of dice as the difficulty of your opponent, which right now is 4.
Okay. So then my 2 chips that I've set up in the back are my defense, and then I have 2 chips that I'm holding in my hand.
You can use 2 chips in your hand to cycle out and offset any kind of negative rolls.
Okay.
And then you get an extra dice for your gear dice.
Okay, so we have
which is only recorded on positives.
So I'll be rolling 5 dice.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
5 dice, and
rolling
then I have
5 dice. And before you roll it, you can use chips to offset any odd rolls.
Right.
You see
and
what I'm saying?
That's what I said. I'm going to use 2 chips to offset odd rolls.
Oh, okay.
And hold 2 chips back in defense. Right?
Yeah, put the 2 chips down as your HP.
Okay.
Some green.
Okay,
if you get hit,
so I got 2 HP in reserve, and I'm using 2 chips of spark, hunter-gatherer, 1 chip of spark, and I'm rolling 5 dice.
Yeah.
Oh, I only have 1 negative, so 2, 2, 2, 4, and a 1. That would be my weapon.
Okay, now all of your positive dice takes away from his hit points. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So if you just had 4 positives and he's a 5 difficulty,
right?
You've incurred a damage of 4 depth in his wound set.
Okay.
So now he's got 1. You've with your weapons. You can describe however you want to carve him up or whatever like that. But
right. Yeah. As he rushes on me, the first strike with a club stuns it. The second strike with my handmade poor weapon with the stone dagger goes into the back of his skull, and I drag him to me and finish clubbing his head into pulp. And then
he's still alive right now.
Oh, I thought you said I killed him.
Previous wound.
Oh.
No, I mean, well, I don't mean, he's still alive. That's a pretty freaking rough
so
hit.
That's how I do my 4. That's how I do my 4 wounds. Okay.
Yeah, it's like him having 5 wounds deep, and you just took 4 of them out.
Okay. Okay.
So right now he's, with a surprise like that being more than half the thing, I don't even really need to tell you, but he's turning tail. He's been stung very much, and he's.
Oh no, he's not, because he's going to feed my village, so he can turn tail if he wants, but I'm going to club his ass.
He can turn tail. Try to get him before he gets out there. You got to
now those 2 chips that I spent, I didn't need because I rolled 4 successes. So what happens to those 2 chips?
Well, they go into your reserve right now, and the next time 1 will come back into your pocket to be used. Okay. But they both have to have a cooldown for 1.
So what am I rolling then to attack him again now?
You're just rolling. Well, actually, it's pretty much. You can roll 2. You got your weapon too, right?
I got 2 weapons, and my hunter-gatherer ability, which has been used.
Well, just roll 2 dice right now. One of them's a weapon dice. And it can offset any kind of negatives.
Both of them are even, 2 and 4.
You tag him. Yeah, no problem when he's trying to turn around.
Okay.
And escape. You sink it into him, and it gives out right there. He couldn't get away from you quick enough before you.
Okay.
crushed his
Okay.
head or the back of him, and then he sprays the blood in front of. I mean the
Okay.
snow in front of him, lays there dead. So
Yeah, I
very effective in that respect.
okay, so I'll now that I know he's dead, I'll pick him up, throw him over my shoulders, and I'll begin to hike back toward the village with this cat over my shoulders.
Okay. Now give me 3d6, and this is for the seed chart.
9, 10, 11.
Okay. Okay. Um, as you travel toward your village, you hear a hissing and some steam rise to your left off a piece. And it doesn't seem to be, the steam itself isn't stagnant. It isn't just hanging in the air, but it's more a rising mist in the spray. And you've been out in this area before, and you recognize it as it's a hot spring area. Okay.
Okay.
So you know yourself, you can probably, whatever you want to do, warm up there, or refresh.
I'm trying to hoof it back to my village, so I know it's there. I know what it is. So it just reminds me that I'm close to home, and I will continue with this cat flung across my shoulders, headed back to the village.
Yeah, it's definitely a marker, and a lot of people go there to get renewed on their water supply and etc. But nevertheless, it doesn't take you that long before you enter the village.
Okay.
And you are somewhat with the heat of the cat on your shoulders. It's giving you more energy to make it back to your village.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you do walk into your village, which is in a bit of a valley, I would suggest that that you feel more so at ease, less stress, just kind of melts away off you, and your village seems a bit quiet, snowbound. It's like people are inside their tents,
okay,
and in covered areas.
I'll
as you walk.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, as you walked in, you did see one of the village elders off in the side pull back the flap of his skin tent, whatever, and peer at you, and then shut it.
Yeah, but I'll just nod at him, and I'll take the kill to the village butcher or the village cook, whatever. I'll take my kill to that person. Again, I'm just a hunter-gatherer. Maybe I'll skin it or whatever I've got to do, but for the most part, I'll bring the food to the appropriate person.
Oh, yeah, you can definitely use the skin.
And then I will ask that person, whoever it is, where the medicine man is.
Okay, through grunts and gesticulations as you do, you know what I mean, knowing each other, and the woman stares up at you and she sees your prize, and you see a little bit of worry across her face, but of course, obviously you were expected to come back early, but and then the slight smile of recognition, and as you drop the thing in front of her, and she hurriedly gets another woman that's in her family or daughters not to start working on the meat, and they're happy. Where did you say you were heading now?
I asked her where the medicine man was, if he doesn't have a location.
Okay.
If he has a tent or something, I'll head toward that. Yeah,
and you know where it is. She lifts her head up and gestures toward it like he is where he always is.
Okay. All right. And I'll look around wherever they've butchered and anything they've cooked, and I'll grab up a handful of meat or chicken or something and eat.
She looks at you and nods like, that's the least,
Yeah.
Like, it's quite expected you would just grab something.
Yeah, I need to eat, need a sustenance, and I'll grunt and nod to her as I look about now for the medicine man's tent, and I'll head over, stopping at any fire pits, any public fire pits, or any fires that are burning to warm my hands and my body, and then I'll
That's what I was going to say. In there, the aroma of the cooked meats and everything, and the fire that she had going, it definitely warmed your bones up while you were there.
Okay.
So you stay there for a second to do that, and then head out. And his tent's only like 2 tents, across the little village center,
Yep.
the square, and you'll see tendrils of smoke coming out the top of it. And there's no privacy, really isn't the thing here. So, you just walk in the tent. It's very easy.
I'll pull the flap open, look about.
Okay, as you do, you see all those little things that initially became like you yourself don't like to become involved with the workings of the medicine. You don't know all that much about it, but you do know that he has similarities to the obviously the thing that you got off the younger man there.
Yeah,
and they're hanging all on the inside of the tent around the areas.
I'll call to him, get his attention, and then wave for him to come out of the tent, and then I'll let the tent flap step out, looking about the village, waiting for him to join me outside. I'm not going into his tent.
Yeah, if you picked in or whatever, you saw him look up, and then you step out, and he steps out too. He ducks down, and he's an older man. He's got blood, freshly. It looked like he was painting himself with, from the bowl that he was dipping out of, and painting himself in different designs around his body. And he comes up to you and looks at you. None of you have really a method of communication other than, as I say, gesticulations and other than pictures and maybe grunts and symbolically and pointing and whatnot. So he looks at you quizzically and walks around you and touches different parts and sees the area where you have blood on you from the animal. He'll rub it through and make sure that you're
while he's looking and investigating, I'll pull out that charm that I pulled off the dead boy, and I'll hold it up right in his face, get his attention with it.
Okay, as he comes around you from looking at your condition, saying that you're all right, you pull that up in front of him, and he backs up a little bit. And he's taking it back, and he sees it swing there, and he's almost like this. He's mesmerized. He's about a head shorter than you, and he reaches out and he grabs it from you real quick and snatches it from you, and turns around and holds it in his hand. And he's got his back to you right now, and then he snaps his head over his shoulder and looks back at you, and then he turns around and he goes, "Oh, like where did you get this? Where did you find this?"
And I'll so I make the motions, of a dead boy. I'll make the hand gestures of roughly how far, right, I traveled. And I'll denote that it was a child, a young boy, not of our village.
Okay, and at this, he kind of gets what you're saying, but you can see him scanning the horizon. He's looking for almost like where from. What do you think?
Yeah, and I'll point. I'll make sure I'm grunting and pointing that direction. And
and he does or whatever, and he grabs you by the elbow and redirects you and gestures you to come following toward what is the elder's tent, right? So and over that way, and he's a bit crooked in front of you, must have scoliosis or something. But he goes into, when he opens the flap, he does it with a flourish. It seems to be, even though he's bent and crooked, his arms are very, very expressive and all over the place as he opens the tent, and he starts making various sounds and gets the elder's attention. He's inside. He raises his hand and sticks it out of the tent for you to come inside too. He sees, and he's pointing at you and himself, and he's showing the elder that. And then he halfway leads out the tent. He's pointing at you to verify it, and he's pointing off in the direction. And he's doing it, 2 legs. Yeah. Another tribe somewhere. So the elder, through some deliberation, he looks at you, and I want you to roll 3d6 for me right now for the C.
10, 11, 12.
Okay. All right. Whenever he gathers you, and he gives you the thing of wait and beckons you toward to go get some food and to hold word or whatever. If you do so, you find the lady's already, she's working on the thing. She's got more food available for you and whatnot. And there is two, after a period of time, there's the chief and two other men in the village come through.
Okay.
Miss Arg and Suka.
Arg and Suka?
Yeah. And one of them, is more of a protectorate of the village, more of a hunter and aggressive.
So yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You hope to ascribe to his.
Now the chief told me not to mention this to anybody, correct?
No, he just gestured you to go over there
gotcha.
Wait for him, get refueled until, and he was coming back, but he came back with these two, and that Arg is more of your ilk, but he's been known to hunt the mammoth. So this is something that you wouldn't even really.
Right.
You're not, haven't been. So he's very capable, right?
Okay.
And the Suka is more of, she's more of a mystic. Well, I said but it's a woman. She's more of a mystic type that can read and divine things, and bit of a scout, somewhat is what she primarily does within the village.
Okay.
He's directing y'all through, as they come in and sits down, and he's pointing them toward you and giving y'all instructions to go seek out this new enemy, where it came from. They need to know the relative position, find out if there's any dangers. Where's this other tribe come from, right?
Right.
So that's what he beckons y'all to do post haste.
Yep.
He looks at you and you got food or whatever.
Yep. And
it's a clear day.
I'll lead the way. I mean, I'll tell them, and I'll go into a full 3/4 time run back toward where the boy was at.
Okay. Well, they
leading
pick up
Arg and Suka.
Yeah, they pick up and follow in suit behind you. When you get there, which at the rate of speed, not being beleaguered with this cat on you, it doesn't take you long. It takes you a couple of hours, but you find your way back there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it seems to be a lot of when you come upon the scene. There seems to be some dogs and whatnot that break away from the body, and tear off running when you approach. But it's been pretty much devoured for the most part. You know what I mean? It's main torso area.
I'll bring them to the body, but I'll point out the tracks that the boy obviously left to get here, and point the tracks because the boy, listen, he's a dead. He doesn't mean anything to us, right? He's just a dead body, and that's the way of the world. But I'm pointing out the tracks where that would have that led the boy here.
And that was only so deep. Like I said, they've been mostly filled up from the night before, and whenever you expired. But they do lead. They do lead about 30, 45 minutes later.
Yeah.
As Suka's really training in and picked up her pace as she's capable as well as Arg, but nevertheless they come to it sort of abruptly ends on a high rise of snow and mound. And it looks to be where the mound ascends somewhat to be the size of at least Arg. It goes up in an incline, but the prints stop. You don't see him coming down from the incline. The prints stop at the base of this, and then this like white powdery snow that is congealed over the whole area, right? But the mound is pretty substantial in size.
It's a mound.
Yeah,
Okay.
like of earth. It's totally covered, but it goes up, but it has that mound-like quality.
I'll try to walk to the top of this mound.
Okay. If you go forward, um, you're stepping in the snow deep, and it just gets deeper. You're finding no purchase with your steps, other than the ground you're on. And pretty soon you're up like chest high, and you're not really what have you. But when it breaks through, all of a sudden the snow around you kind of falls in on you and falls around you, and you see the opening right in front of you. Seems to be another cave-like opening.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
Somewhat dim, and you see the side of it to where it's open on the side, right?
Yeah, I'll
have,
grunt to get Ugg and Suga's attention, pointing it out, and then I'll kind of peer in to see if I smell fire or if I can see flickering of light on the walls.
Okay. There's roll. Well, it's all three of you there. Just give me. No, you pretty much got it. Especially with Suka there, she sees. She notices as you're walking in, she sees some scrapings on the side of looks rather new, and some broken branches to where more of the soil where the root system came out.
Okay.
It's been kind of broken away and chucked away. So she motions that toward you and gives you the, let's be very careful where we step. But you do see that for all appearances, it looks like where this is where the boy exited. So whenever you go in, if you decide to proceed extra or lengthier into it.
Yeah, but how well lit is it?
Oh, it's pitch black as it goes into.
Yeah. So
you can hear water dripping deeper in the cavern.
I will motion for Uga to make fire, to make a fire stick.
Okay. He does over a period of time. He breaks out some dried area in a pouch that he has, and he makes it. There seems to be they bind together some a makeshift torch and begin to stick it out in front of themselves and go a little bit deeper into the recesses.
Yeah, and I'll follow.
Yeah,
I'll follow behind him. Yep.
Okay. So it's kind of low to the ground as she's scanning the area. You can hear her step into water. It seems to be somewhat to you warmer all of a sudden than, since you're out of the cold biting, the bite of the cold, and it's still cool, but you can feel heat rising up from the lower depths. As this seems to be on a decline as you're going down into a lower level of this.
Still no
cave.
light. Still no light ahead.
No, no. From what she holds it up, it's like the further you're getting, the light that's illuminated by the torch, and it's such an incline now that they've reached the part to where the light that was coming in from behind you, piercing, is now gone.
Yeah. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So you go down, all of a sudden it's gone.
Right.
They are, in the torchlight Argus carrying, and she's scanning it out, and they stop every once in a while and listen and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And she seems to be scanning the ground for any kind of prints and whatnot. And she picks up and she notices something, but there's little puddles and whatever. A lot of it's obscured by subterranean waters that are flowing through here at different points, and there is a water flow. Right, so the ice melting up top too has been flowing, as well as the dropping from above.
Sure,
and it's going down, and that's the only part that's it's getting somewhat substantially hotter with every step you take.
All right,
but except for the cold, water flowing around your feet at different points.
Yeah.
Okay. So the further, if you continue this descent, which they seem to be quite intent on doing, it plateaus out at a certain level, and the water seems to be about ankle deep.
Okay.
and trilling and dumping off into that area from the melting snow above. But it has widened out into a more of a cavern.
Okay.
And but when he does hold up the light, do you see there seems to be some kind of crystalline stone, tendrils of crystal, some kind of crystalline substance that is like almost illuminating inside of the cavern, and past and reflecting, but it has its own almost glow to it, aside from the light that he is shining out, right?
Okay.
So even though your eyes are messed up a little bit, but it's right now is quiet. Suka around and gives a motion up to her mouth and gives a long sigh, and you can her frame flexes into a cat-like pulse. So you can sense from that thing that she's anticipating some kind of danger ahead, and she's gathering information. Now, in that second, give me 2d6, and you can add any spark you want to, or whatever to offset anything.
Yeah, hunter-gatherer here? No?
No, you wouldn't be able to use that.
So I'll use spark. So I'll use a spark.
Yeah.
2 dice. Yeah. And so 2 negatives, but my spark cut 1 out, so 1 negative roll.
Yeah. Well, you don't. That's a wash on that as far as that, but you don't really sense what she's tensing up about.
Right.
And you hear her sniff a little bit, and you hear little sparks happening, and all of a sudden the Arg, he's as the sparks are coming off of his torch and lighting on his hair and face, the side of his face, right? So he pushes it away from itself, and it seems to be flaming up in a certain way around the torch. And she turns around and hisses at it and tries to jump up. You watch this almost and bat it away from his hand. Now, just out of curiosity to find out what happens here, give me 3d6. See what happens.
You want the total?
Yeah, no, positive.
Okay. So
positive.
I got 2 positive, 2 even, 1 odd.
Okay. All right. Now it flames out. The torch, as she knocks it from his hand down, you see it fall into the water, but it hits up the side of the cave mouth before it drops in, and there's a little explosion of fire that goes up. And then it quickly evaporates a little bit as the torch lands in the water.
Okay.
And it starts to fizzle out.
Okay.
But that's what occurs there.
Do I smell Do I smell anything?
You've never smelled anything like it before. It's basically sulfur is what you're smelling in the air, but something definitely you would have smelled it before, but the burnt sulfurish is what your aftertaste. So it's in the water now, but it's totally dark.
Okay.
And as it fizzes out, you see the tendrils. All of a sudden, as your eyes readjust to it, the little tendrils of the glowing moss-lit crystalline, net almost is on the inside of this inside the cavern. It reaches up a pretty good ways. Somewhat illuminates it. You can barely see each other. It's almost pitch black, except for a little a faint. It's almost like you feel your colleague's presence more so than can see them, right?
Right.
But you see like a darker shade right beside you. They're slightly illuminated. You feel Arg reach out and grab you kind of frantically to stable himself as well as find out where you are. And she grabs you and there's definitely, you all want to stay close and tight. and everybody gets quiet at that, or at least they do get really quiet.
Sure.
As they determine something, and then you'll hear, let's see if you hear it. Roll 2d6 again. Use a Spartan offset.
Both even.
Okay. But just keep in mind, anytime you use a spark chip, it'll have to go into the cooldown.
I didn't on this one, but
yeah, I'm just saying that like if you would go into a battle mode or a situation where you had to switch some of it over to defense, it just wouldn't be available to have that option until it came back in your hand.
Right.
And you can change that throughout any kind of battle. You can have more of a defensive posture, or from turn to turn.
Right.
But you hear a hissing and a flickering, and there's definitely a sense of foreboding, danger. And I think the last one you rolled was success, right?
Both were. Yeah, I rolled 2 successes.
Yeah. So that's what you're hearing right now, and you hear a slosh, as it seems like something's moving through the water.
Right.
In both of your directions. All right.
Yeah.
The bad thing is, you've walked. Well, I mean, you're obviously going to know that the entrance where you came from is probably about 10 foot behind you as you spilled out into the area, but you don't know from the excitement. You don't know exactly.
Right.
It's more or less behind you, but
right. I'll back up toward the cave entrance we came in, pushing Ugg and Suka back with me, but I'm facing the direction that we're hearing these noises, but I'm walking backward toward the cave mouth, trying to just backtrack, but I'm facing the noise.
Now, your comrades, Arg and Suka, grasp a hold of you tighter as you're backing up. They're still on you, and it takes a second before they follow in suit, and they're dragging. They're trying to be quiet, but you hear something that seems like a tail whipping through the water. It makes a splash through the water, and then you'll hear but it seems to be there's an echoing effect, or either there's another sound, just like it, and then another over here. So it seems like they're to the left and to the right and in front.
Sure.
And it's hard to really pinpoint from where your direction is. You back up. Let's see if you're not looking back. Let's see if you can get a direction right. Just roll ahead 3d6. Let's see. I mean, unless you want to put more focus on getting at it there and spend a spark on doing that. But like I said, it goes in the
I'll
recycle.
wait on that. Oh, I got 1 success.
Okay, 1 success, and you roll 2, and 1 fail, right?
I rolled 3. I rolled 3. 2 failed.
Okay, when you back up, you back up into something solid, and a little bit that kind of punctures the back a little bit. You recognize the stone somewhat, feels slimy. Thankfully, it's nothing but that.
Right.
You're backed up right up against the
and
cavern wall.
I'll reach out in the dark and grab Suka and pull her to the wall, and I'll reach out and grab Arg and pull him to the wall. And I'll push myself flat against the wall. I can't be surrounded. I can't be attacked from behind here. So this isn't such a bad place to be.
Okay,
is the way I see it. So I'm kind of pushing her to the wall, him to the wall. That way we at least can't be surrounded.
Yeah, they were held tight on you, but when they touched the wall, I want to see their reactions to this. So if you roll me, it's just going to be you're leading them. I want you to roll for Suka first 2d6, and then for Arg.
She got basically a washout. 1 success, 1 failure.
Okay, and what did he get?
He got same thing. 1 success, 1 failure. So break even on both of them.
Okay. They might have thought that you was leading them out of the area, but when they back up against the wall, it comes as somewhat of a shock to them. So whatever you was trying to do didn't translate.
Right.
There is a bit of a shock, and you can tell that they're pulling away from you at that moment. and there's a little bit of a panic, and the you can almost feel the bodies that are slithering through the waters come up right on them. Now, there are okay. Now there are four with all Ard's got right now. He does have a weapon on him, right? So he's got a 4-hitter weapon, and he's a protector. So basically, he's got 4 spark, and I'll kind of watch this. I'm testing this more so than doing a mob outfit or a party thing. But for the explicit thing of using their dice as well as adding on, because you're facing several of these beasts, obviously, because they seem to be coming from various directions as they're kind of bumping into you, pulling away from you, kicking out. Their yells are resounding inside of the cave. They've gone from cat-like quiet to this, and they're trying to find some kind of way out and kick back at this encroaching danger.
Okay.
Okay.
You say he had 4 spark.
Right.
What does she have?
Sue's got 4 as well. They both each have a weapon. She's got a bone knife, and he's got his cudgel or spear or what have you. And she's only he can use his more protector in this thing when he's fighting, right? So only he has that extra spark chip for that. So basically, she's got 4 chips. Now, when you roll, and I would say that since they're being so outward, I'm going to just put 2 toward defense toward them because they're being awful forward about it. So, in other words, you got 2 chips available for Arg, 3 chips for Arg and 2 for Suka, as far as utilizing them in a combat and cooldown situation. All right.
Yeah.
Is in the extra die for the weapon, but take 10 dice because that's where you can match it out at, and roll
10 dice. So I got to get 1 more die out of here. So let's see. He's got available 3 dice. She's got 3 dice available, and I've got 3 dice available plus a weapon 4. So that's 10 dice.
Yeah.
Is that how you're coming to 10?
No, 10 is the max that you can go against, and you're kind of going up against the.
Oh, okay, I see. So this isn't our dice. This is its dice.
Yes, and you can only offset any kind of negatives.
Oh, I see. So their difficulty is the number of dice. I gotcha.
Yeah, they're limited by 10 in how they can face you, but I won't tell you exactly how many wounds that you're facing.
Well, he's got 2 out for defense. She's got 2 out for defense. I'm going to put 2 out for defense.
And then y'all can utilize whatever you want to. You can utilize their chips to offset any kind of.
All right. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes and 5 failures.
Did you spend any spark on it?
I didn't. I'm protecting myself. I'm not for them either. Not yet. I don't know exactly what we're up against, so I haven't spent anything.
Oh.
So we break even. 5 and 5.
Yeah. Now, right now, you have to be successful and take out any wounds. It's more like right now, both, it's just a wash. There's nothing on either side. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Right now, they've been obviously keeping them at bay a little bit, but there's been no damage. They're still yelling and ranting and raving as far as your partners or whatever, and you're in the center between them, stuck in the middle of them. And roll again unless whatever you want to do to get, but they don't seem to be cognitively aware right now. They're still fixated on the present danger.
Okay, so what rolled? So if we're rolling 10 dice for the creature, where does their weapon and where does their stuff come in hand? Where does their stuff come into play? Their weapon, their chips.
Yeah, if you didn't roll an extra if you roll an extra dice for their weapon.
I didn't. I just rolled the 10 dice you told me to roll. So
okay, well that's the even. Roll the weapon and let's see
one
if
weapon,
it does anything.
both weapons.
Well, both weapons.
So we're technically rolling, and this is I'm not involved. This is just them.
Well, yeah, if they both got weapons, so you can roll their weapons additionally onto that, and it only affects if it's a positive. If it's a negative
they're both
one,
failures. They're both failures.
Okay, it didn't. The situation remains the same.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Only the weapon dice are additional and kind of roll to the side and see if it affects or positive, and there's a chance of a breakage.
Okay.
But if there's a negative, it just doesn't add to your successes, right?
All right.
So, but nevertheless, it seems to be that there's a lot of chomping. You can hear chomping is snapping of teeth. And almost the white, you see little glares of teeth. You feel it. You feel it all around you, and there's screams. You don't know yet if anybody's been hit or whatnot.
Right.
But roll again, because she seems to be blocking any kind of. If you want to beat it out of her or get an exit, she's right in your right. She's right in your left.
1, 2. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even 4. Wow, 4 ones. Yeah. I rolled 4 ones, 4 sixes, and 2. I rolled 6 evens, 4 odds. Their weapons are both odds, so their weapons don't do anything.
Okay, so basically that's 2 wounds that y'all incurred upon them. If you would have used any of your spark chips toward that, it would have negated some of the negatives and given you more positives.
Right.
You know, anyway.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So they're successfully gone down 2. They've taken 2 wounds to the pack. They're still snapping and biting. Roll 10 again. This lets you know that they're higher than 10.
She's going to put in a spark. He'll put in a spark. So that'll be 2. They're going to add 2 sparks to this. They're not dice. They're just the tokens, right?
Yeah, chips. Yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes. 7 successes, 3 odds. Now their weapons both failed again. So
okay,
7
so that's 4
plus 2. So 7 plus 2 spark dice. That's 9.
So 9 successes, basically.
Yeah, 9 successes from their 10, or from their, and 3 were failures. So 7. 6 total.
The sparks don't add another success to it.
They negate.
They just negate.
Oh, good. Okay, so they negated the 2. Okay, so that technically is 1 failure. So 5 points of damage is what that would be.
Yeah.
Now,
so there's an additional 5.
Their spark's gone now, right?
So, well, yeah, it goes into, you just push them off to the side as a cooldown.
Yep.
And next round, they'll get 1 back in there to utilize.
Okay.
So far, you've made 7 points of injury toward these, whatever these creatures are that are in the thing. Right now, whenever their total amount of the danger level, which is their wound level too, wound threshold, drops below 10, that's when it starts. That's when you can kind of ascertain where you're at.
Okay.
It's in the survival. You're at 7 now, so no, not 7, but 8. So right now, roll 8 dice. So you've injured him to a point of, that.
Okay, 8 dice. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes. Their weapons are both successes. Holy cow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 successes, 3 failures.
Okay. Well, you offset that. 7 successes, 3 failures.
So 4 wounds. It'd be 4 wounds. Yep.
Yeah. So now you were rolling 4, and they're down to 8. And right now, and this is some of the play test as far as them having morale or what have you. Depends on the beast how aware they are and up to the presenter running it. But you could have a breakaway if you wanted to. In certain things, it's just a societal thing. You're fighting creatures that are more can be dealt with like other humans. you may intimidate or whatever. You may, try to roll in that respect,
Sure.
depending on whatever class
Sure.
you are. But these right here, they seem to be still coming at you.
Yeah.
And they're still rolling. So roll 4 dice.
4 dice, okay. And
Even though they seem to be coming from less directions.
Now they got back their 2 spark, so I'm going to spend their 2 spark on this one.
Well, you only trickle back at 1 spark per
Right, but there's
round.
2 of them. There's 2 characters.
Gotcha.
2 sparks,
Gotcha.
right? Yep. Woo! Good thing I did, because we only got 1 success plus the 2 spark. Now let me roll their weapons. And 1 success with the weapons. So we broke even, it looks like. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. We had 4 successes to 3 failures.
Okay. Well, actually, you got one wound on them.
Yes, right.
So they're down to 3. 3 right now. There seems to be thrashing about still.
Okay.
But the odd thing is, right now, there is, like, they're striking out. You're striking out, but you're not really striking out at nothing immediate. You feel something go across your leg and something being drugged back. There is, you hear a slosh, and all of a sudden it's quiet, and something seems to be receding away from you, as it's apparently dragging one of its own back into the water away from you.
Okay.
And it's slashing around and twisting a little bit.
Right.
As you hear this. Now, Suka and Arg are still and throwing their weapons out and splashing, and you hear one go into the body of something, but it's not responding. Right. Cold, they're shaking a little bit, and they're still like that, but the waters and the snapping have receded. In a second, they calm down, and then Suka's grabbing your arm and pulling you to the side, and around. It seems to be she's turning, she's pivoting it somewhat. It seems to be that she's to your right, but she's going around into that cave opening. Okay. It heads up, and she's pulling your hand. So he still grabbed a hold of your arm too. Arg is to your left. Yeah. And with her pulling on you, you can follow instead if you want to, unless you want to pull.
Oh no, I'll let them lead me out of the cave or wherever they're leading me.
Yeah, and Arg's backing up, and you're pulling him, but he's still, having his weapon out in front,
trying to fight. Backing. Right.
Yeah, just defensive posture, and she's pretty much all but turned around and pulling you up. Right. Okay. Yeah. It's a dark hall, but there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. And there seems to be an opening up there to where you see the light pierce through, the blessed light.
This is where we came in? This is where we came in?
Yeah, it's straight up. And then you feel the heat reside as you feel the coolness and the crystalline ice water go over your shoes again. Yeah. When they come up, they're breathless, they're wild-eyed.
Well, and we're blinded, I'm sure, from total darkness into bright light to blinded, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. So they've been exasperated as far as the two that you're with, looking around. It takes them a minute, but they look at each other like, no, we're not going down there again. Right. Wherever he came from. Yeah. There's a reason he left there in the first place. It's their look. Right. As they do that. So anyway, it's at this point that they determine that aside from if you're trying to protest or whatever like that, it looks like they're in agreement to head back.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, I came out. I just let them out here based on what the chieftain wanted or the elder wanted, and so if they're done investigating, I'll follow them back.
Yeah, they go back in silence and half paranoia. You see their eyes glued to any surrounding until they get closer into their village, and then they relax more. And when you get back, they have various, grunts and yelps with the village chieftain as they describe this
Right.
horrible pit with these creatures in, and that's where it led. So this village is nonsense, myth, whatever.
Right.
And you see the medicine man still in the corner holding up that piece
Mm-hmm.
and designing it. And this will stop. I mean, you're both in the in the village chieftain's hut as they're yappering on, and you're standing there kind of watching the whole thing unfold.
Nice.
That's
Dawn of Man. That was our debut, Dawn of Man. Sweet. Very cool. I got my quick note flow chart of how the game went, right? So my only question would be the creature. It could work against the creature to have his own power be dice against him. So it seems to me like the more the creature is, let's say 10, like that last creature was 10 dice. That seems to me that would actually work against the creature. You see what I'm saying? Its own power.
For the chances of odds versus evens.
Well, yeah, because its own power could actually be its own downfall, regardless of the size of the creature. I mean, I'm saying the only question I would have for the mechanism is making the creature's dice are fine, but the problem is if we're rolling 20 dice for a giant creature, those 20 dice could work against it.
Yeah, ultimately. Yeah,
I mean, I could roll we could roll like 17 odds, and the creature would basically, kill itself.
Whenever you're that situation, you were going up against 15,
right?
And there was a couple of crocodile-like creatures,
right,
down there.
But my concern is not how many creatures we went against; it's that the mechanism can cause its own damage. Its own power can cause its own damage.
Yeah, I mean what counterbalances that is the amount of when you determine. Now I'll give you two comrades to run along with you.
Mm-hmm.
You can bleed out, especially if you're by yourself. The more
right.
you got with you, the more survivability you have. But you can bleed out real easy if you get hit.
Right.
Literally, if they take that last, if you got hit twice.
So if I was by myself, I would have still rolled 10 dice, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I misunderstood. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, you need to.
Yeah, so that makes it a hell of a lot more dangerous to me then. Okay, I gotcha.
And also, when you take in a situation where you're needing to rely on a defensive posture, and put more to literally two of your chips represents 2 wounds that you can take. Right. If those 2 wounds are gone, right. You're gone.
Yeah, right. Okay, now, see, that's what I misunderstood. So the 10 dice would have been what I was facing by myself even. So no matter what, I would have eventually succumbed to this.
It's the percentage of the percentage of time rolling trying to be odds.
Yeah, that makes better sense.
All you have all you have is those chips to try to offset some of the odds in your favor. Okay. Each time it's really pushing your luck.
Yeah, it's very
what you're facing, and according to how many chips you want to allocate to if you only put 2, that means you can take. And it's not like every hit you get, you go down like a Dark Man,
right?
Or whatever we have a degrading.
Yeah, you can offset it.
If you get 2 successes,
more
so than you have that, then it works against you.
Yes, yeah.
You were rolling some situations where there were like 6 successes, 7 successes.
Yeah, I had 2 rolls there where I got 6. Yeah.
Yeah. So what if that was reversed?
Oh no, right? Yeah, they would have died. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been quick death in a situation. So
perfect.
You just actually had.
That's pretty cool. Well, I like it, man. I like it. The mechanism, and I like games that have some tangible resource management like that for strategic choices. Defend yourself or extend yourself out, so you could use those chips to increase your attack, or use those chips to defend yourself. But spending those chips means you're more vulnerable to dying. Period.
Yeah, if you want to have more in hand to spend, and then it trickles back in your hand. Like, how much do you want to exert yourself?
How much of your energy do you want to put into this? Right.
Yeah, that spark of life that I was trying to say. That whatever you're trying to do, and the only time you for your speciality, your skill, your class, or whatever you call it, you get an extra chip that you can reuse,
Right.
ironically, that don't go in that pool.
So the only
That don't go
thing,
in.
yeah, I mean the mechanism works great, and the resource works great. The only thing we would have to identify in the book is what technological level are the players would want to know is their language. If there's not
Yeah,
language, how do we communicate with our village mates? We'd want to write. We'd want to make sure in our rule book there's some indication of how players. Right.
exactly.
Like for
You could
instance,
have a basic proto.
I had to ask you at the beginning, do we have fire? Can I talk to this
Yeah,
medicine man, or is it all facial expressions and grunts? And so we would want to make sure that's outlined in what maybe the dawn of man, but how prehistoric is it, right?
well, essentially, conceptually, you have to have like that awareness, like we did in 2061. Dark Age of Man, you know you're in Dredgewater, you know the
Yeah.
surrounding. So that has to be preemptively given to the players so they
Yeah.
know.
I mean, yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, the
whether or not,
mechanics work great. And I
so
saw
I
in the
said
book,
Neolithic.
and in the book, you've got the monster. So these are all the number of dice. So for instance, the Brontosaurus has 11 dice. Is that right?
Yeah.
And the Leviathan has 13 dice.
Yeah, that's why you have to have a team of
Yeah,
hunters
that's
to go
sweet.
after them.
That's
you know
sweet.
what I mean?
Okay, so
Because it's dangerous.
so it's simple but dynamic.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's really, like I said, it's dangerous. Like if you actually had some good rolls in 7+,
Yeah.
6+,
Yeah.
because you were over on it.
So now, how do we improve? How do we improve as characters?
Oh,
I mean, we
it's the
survive.
same concept
We
of
come
Dark Age of
back.
Man.
How do we go up?
As opposed to repute, as opposed to the concept of repute, this is, and it's like a legacy type thing. That would be like if you do deeds that are recorded in cave paintings that are worthy of being recorded, and then you could get an extra spark. So you're playing in those moments where you get an extra spark to you.
And your
Like
spark, your spark is your life force, but also your ability to do things in combat, or building a shelter, or solving a puzzle, or right.
It's definitely just a survival game. You got to utilize that. You could throw some spark chips, and that's literally like it's really a death thing when you face something. You go, do I want to put 3
well, yeah,
sparks
I mean, because
to represent my
everything would be fight or flight. Everything would be life or death. So that makes total sense.
Oh yeah, you're gonna definitely have to. And
so the only thing we'd have
to
to identify for sure for players is at what's communication level. What's the technology level? Do we have fire? Do we have speech? Yeah. We would want to make sure that's outlined for players, obviously, yeah. But
yeah,
the mechanism is going to work.
Give you a little concept of a loose concept of what I got, because I said Neolithic through, whatever time.
Right.
So essentially that anybody could play in the NFL or any kind of thing.
Sure.
Over a certain period. So it could go from grunts and gestures to all the way up some kind of proto-Indo early speak. You know what I mean?
Right.
That you could define it. So
right.
it's a long area that we're trying to do. And I had you in cave. I mean, not in caves, but in like tents with hides.
Right.
So this could be a little bit different, but I have to add at least the time span because there's not really a flavor of different cultures, but you're looking at primal cultures.
Well,
now, I will say
that's fine, but players just need to know whether they have fire, whether they communicate, whether they can talk to their village elder, right? Those.
And
I'm assuming they can. I mean, I'm sure every species of man, or had some way of communicating with each other, right?
Yeah, they did. You basically get the gist, and however you want to cast the game during whatever
probably a lot better than we do now, actually.
Yeah, whenever I sort of drew from like maybe early Celtic too, as far as leading up until that time,
right?
Because you got a bunch of tribal interactions and whatnot, and actually probably even to the point of where you enslave others, or not that I want it to be a big part, but it can lead into that. When you look at the early Ireland with the Celtic tribes and the Viking outskirts,
yeah.
So I'm trying to use.
Unfortunately, that's a fact of a human civilization, right? The
yeah,
strong conquer, the strong survive, the strong oppress. Yeah, I mean that's just the way it was in early man, Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got to cover a longer. That's the only way I reset like the different areas and the multicultures and the sophistication of like a Dark Age of Man. At least you got a hierarchy of nobles and this and that.
Well,
You
and
really don't have.
there is law and order. There's a court system. There's a justice system, and right.
Yeah, you could have cannibals in this area over there. You could have other people that maybe lived in the high area that's more deal with the snow and another people on the plains
Right.
or whatnot. So you have to change environs and you have to change kind of times to change a little bit of the look and aesthetic of what you're playing in.
Which is awesome.
So it would have to cover a large gambit of a period of time, like during that whole. But like I said, it runs up to it, buttresses up to that early period where you see in the early Celtic period, which is like this is prehistory, but I'm looking at like buttresses up against recorded history, which is the early Celtic, and the way that they would do with the tribals, that the activity back and forth. So you get to halfway bar from that because a lot of what prehistory is, we're having to conjure up and create a lot of this.
Yeah.
So I'm having to borrow some from a lot of recorded history.
Which is why, and that's why I'm okay with there not being a whole lot of known. We just need to identify what the technology level is, and that's it. You don't have to identify anything else. You want to outline that people were nomadic. There was no agriculture. So we just want an outline. Yeah. They were nomadic, hunter-gatherers, no agriculture, didn't live in cities, lived in villages that moved.
Our tents, our caves,
occupied seasonal places. In the summer they were here, in the winter they were here, and then of course there's a level of communication, level of technology. So we don't need to identify culture. We just got to identify the parameters so people understand, and then we don't have to. The fact that it is pre-recorded history, you don't have to borrow a whole lot. Most people can imagine what Stone Age man must have been like, but they need parameters so they can play.
Yeah, but to feed the random seed and stuff like that.
Right.
Some of it's going to be fantastical anyway. If you wanted to have a tree,
sure. I mean, looking at your monsters. I mean, man didn't walk the earth with these creatures. So this is fantastical for sure. Cave bear. There would have been cave bears with man, right?
Yeah.
Giant apes. There's still giant apes. We still deal with that. Giant boar.
Yeah. A lot of it is still going to be put in there like
dodos. Fuck, we're surrounded by dodos in this goddamn world.
But you can still have things like I got sinkhole as one of them, or you can have avalanche, or you can a lot of it's really based in survival. So a lot of like
I would see this as almost exploration survival.
It is.
You got to get out. You're going out and you're investigating and surviving and hunter gathering and whatever, and then you're
bring it back to base.
And everything is everything is dangerous to you, and everything is unknown to you. The only thing you really knew was your immediate culture, and of course your migration. You knew to expect that it should be warm now over in that place, and that's where we eat buffalo during the. Right, so you would have some semblance of that idea, but outside of your little world, it would have been pretty terrifying, right?
Yeah,
because you don't know what's beyond that.
Exactly, this is survival and going out into the wilderness and trying to.
So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah,
you got to live it. What I did add, if you remember about the umbrage, like I said,
umbrage is in. Actually, umbrage was in the first book you sent me, I think, wasn't it?
It's still there.
Which is repute. In a way, it's repute, right?
No, not really. Umbrage. The spark is the repute. The spark is what you gain about yourself, but it's not repute to be known. But umbrage is when you get hit. It's the shadow that overtakes your life. Like I'm talking about the darkening, the more encroaching toward death. And these people prehistoric had a lot of, like I was trying to illustrate with when you're dealing with the mystical, or maybe even the fact of going into some kind of a spirit realm.
Okay, but let me get this straight. So spark's my hit points. So it's my repute, but it's also my hit points. If I lose my spark, I die. So what is umbrage? What is umbrage then?
Okay, umbrage is like if you take a critical hit and it gets like that, it gets filed away into your umbrage, and you can only You can only suffer 10 umbrage in a lifetime, in the character's lifetime.
Right. So, but how do I earn umbrage? Let's say, for instance, in that fight with the wolf or whatever it was I killed, that creature, that cat. How would I have suffered an umbrage? How would I have suffered an umbrage in that fight?
By loss of your spark, your hit points.
Yeah.
When you lose
but
it,
you said when do I die? I mean, when do I lose? When do I gain umbrage and not die?
Oh, if you look at the rules right there, it said whenever you get hit, whenever you lose a wound tracker, when you lose, if you put 2 or 3 into your
right, in my defense. So if I hold back 2 on my spark as defense, and I lose one of them, I gain an umbrage.
Yes.
Okay.
And you gain
so how do I lose? So let me ask you. So how do I lose one of those? Because I thought those were always in reserve.
No, you don't. Umbrage is a ticker to your life. Like if you would.
Okay, so if I hold 2 back, if I hold 2 back as protection, I never lose those, but I take umbrage instead.
No, you would lose. If you lost 2 of those, you would die. But if you got out of the battle and you lost 1 or whatever like that, it would go to your umbrage, which is another.
Gotcha.
Like a second.
Gotcha.
Like a second life.
So umbrage is your long-term beatdown. So umbrage is what you sustain over your life.
Yes, it's that shadow.
Which is why Stone Age man lived to be about 14 years old and then died, right? I mean, those guys' life expectancy was, well, who knows how long, but you can
incur. Yeah, you can incur that, and that, I just call it and that they'll have, I incorporated that if you look in the book, the Umbermancer.
Yep.
Is somebody, and I said the shadow is going over the land where like shadow encroaches you. And that's why to counter that I use the spark. Yep. The spark of light that fights against the umbrage, but the umbrage will overtake you.
Gotcha.
And once you attain 10 of them, that's why you got to be careful, man. But 10, you'll just die in your sleep overnight just from being just by the shadow taking you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Losing your life. You got to keep that spark up.
This
is why you try. This is why you try to get the renown or the spark in life to give you a chance to
so we just got to flesh out. We got to flesh out the parameters for players to make so they know what the parameters are when they set up the shop. Kind of like Dredgewater, like the setting, right? We just got to flesh out a setting in a way. Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I get to the point, and I was like, no.
I wouldn't overly define it. It's just a nomadic village, but the players just need to know what the boundaries.
But
are.
if somebody wanted to start with like 8 men being in the land, or either a treetop village, like I said, or people living in caves, or people living nomadically, or people, even early farmers are trying to attempt to do that. Mm-hmm. You could, because it's over a longer scale of.
Yeah, it's not a hard and fast history. It's
this is just survival in the Stone Age, and
cool.
I
dig it, man. I dig it. This would be a good addition to our role-playing canon, no doubt about it. The mechanics are going to be fantastic.
Yeah, it's just getting used to, like you say, like the dice, using the gear die, the tool dice as an extra dice to give you a possible thing. But if you roll it, there's a chance for degrading it from excellent to good to, you know what I mean, to poor.
Yep.
Also, I mean, if you wanted to say roll 1 die 6, and if it's an odd 1 or odd 3, then you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it's poor. Or like you suggested, go up to a D8 and a D10. That way, you got more of a less of a chances of rolling a 1.
Right. But eventually, a 1 would make it a D8, and then make it a D6, and then eventually it's destroyed.
It would degrade and break, and then you would just have, because a lot of this, like crafting, that was the first thing you did, was craft a thing.
Yeah.
And to find, like, if you wanted to use an antler as a shovel or whatever the people could conjure up in their mind, or say that I'm going to do this and make some kind of a weapon out of it.
Yeah.
You're going to be constantly trying to find something to aid you, give you that extra dice to give you the extra chance of survival.
Yeah.
And some of it may have a prerequisite. How are you supposed to dig a hole without some kind of a digging utensil? So you're going to need to have an antler or some kind of something to dig it with.
Right.
So you'll have to, and it gives you an extra shot.
Yeah, and that's something we'll have to identify.
Right.
And it's something we'll have to identify in the rules. What would digging a hole cost? You get 1 dice, but you need to get how many successes to dig a hole? Well, with an antler, it's going to speed up the process. So everything should
Well,
have a
yeah, but how how deep do you want the hole? How wide do you want it? Is the ground frozen? All this it's sort of like given to where something's difficult, something's easy.
right, but the
Whether
players,
something needs to be rolled at time, if it's on a time system thing,
yeah.
then it's up to the center to say, this is a detail or the difficulty of such and such, and then you roll it. But the more number of dice you roll, the less opportunities you have to spend on a spark to reduce the chance of success. Because the higher the number gets, the more of a chance that the negatives are going to show up to overwhelm any spark that you play to accomplish it.
But that's what I mean. We're going to have to have a level. We're going to have levels of difficulty. So when somebody says, "I want to," they have to know how many dice, for instance, it's going to take, how many successes it's going to take to build to dig that hole or to make that shelter.
Yeah, they say if you say I need to build this thing in that, or dig this hole in an hour and the ground is half frozen. Oh, this is going to be hard. And then you just have that standard hard difficulty like we did in Dark Age of Man.
Right.
And then when you roll it,
right,
you're rolling more dice. And then you say, I'm going to add 2 spark to it. But
well, and I'm going to get 2 people to help me from the village, and I'm going to add 2 spark to this, and that should give me more dice, or it should lower the dice. One of the two.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, the sparks just offset it, but the thing is,
offset
you want
the
more
negatives.
dice.
Yeah. Right.
More dice to be representative for the chance of more negatives against you.
Right.
And then you're limited by your number of spark that you can play against that, those negatives. So it starts to turn against you.
Yeah, but those are the things we have to conceptualize before we write rules, because those are questions that will come up with players at a table. So how can I fail at digging this hole? Right.
They may not need to roll.
Right.
Right. If you've got plenty of time.
I mean, what does failure look like in digging the hole? It just takes longer. Well, then I'll just take longer to do it. Or can you get hurt? Can you? So we'll have to identify those things, right?
Oh yeah, like if you roll. And
why should I look for an antler when I can just dig a hole with my hands? Right. That's
well. I mean, a lot of it, like I said, sometimes it needs to be a prerequisite or something. If I want to do something that would require a rope and I don't have one, then you can't do it. That's something percentage say. You need to find a rope.
Yeah,
and you need to have some kind of digging utensil. The ground's too hard.
Yeah,
and then once you do that, it allows you to even attempt.
And some of that stuff has to be identified in the rules.
Yeah. It's simply beta rule set.
Yeah,
to kind of knock out the basic game.
Yeah,
it was definitely an early beta.
Oh, it works though. It works. Yeah, we just gotta. Those are all the things we've got to bang out and put into the book, right? Yep. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. And set up a little starting setting and then let them run with it.
Yeah.
It just has to be balanced. But it's very dangerous. You got really successful when you knocked that tiger. In fact, when it was coming at you, I was like, I think I threw too much. Because if you put a 2 and then you get swiped if the tiger has 3 successes over him.
Yeah.
He's bit into him with his claws and he's ripping him up.
But that's what happens, by the way.
Exactly. You could lucky if you clubbed him for 4. It's like it's freaking.
I mean, I'm a hunter-gatherer. I do what I got to do, and if I end up killed by the cat, then I'm killed with the cat. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. Cool.
So I mean, I had to kind of on the fly go. Well, he's down to 1 hit point. He's starting to run because you can say, well, if he's hit all at once for more than half his thing, sort of like a threshold, like in some room.
Sure. Yeah, all animals have a sense of protecting themselves. Yeah.
Exactly. He just said it's not worth it.
But I wasn't going to let him go.
You had to go like
because that's the whole point. I'm out there, man. I'm hunting, so I'm not going to let him go.
He's trying to. Then you would have failed by you just scared him off. And
right. Yeah.
Back.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's about it. I wanted to make it at least to where you can roll as long as conceptually it's there with using the spark. But I'm telling you, like just like what is in peace, taking his point, at least using it in however you want to push your luck.
Yeah.
Do you want to go all in, or you want to, and then you got to go spend them after you use it. Those things go back into a cool down pool while you're trying to get your breath, while you're trying to recalculate.
Yep.
Your situation, see where you are, get your momentum back, and then rethrow it out. But at any point in time, like you could say, I rolled 1. Let's say if you had 2 in your hand and you put 1 spark toward it, and then you hit him, and then the situation changes a little bit. And you go, this guy's tough. Well, all of a sudden, all you have to do is take that one extra spark in your hand and go, on this round, I'm adding it to my defense, and I'm going to make it 3 instead of 2. In other words, I'm going more defensive posture.
Sure, yeah.
Strategy. Block off.
Strategy.
Whatever.
Yeah. Right.
You know, he's all the ropes. I'm going to take out those 2 and leave 1 for defense because there's no way he's going to hit me now, so I'm going to apply it. And put all 3 toward this and overcome him and just go ahead and kill him.
Right, right.
I mean, at some point, it becomes like superfluous. But that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
That was fun.
So you just have to figure it out.
Yeah.
As far as like the details and the settings and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's just a matter of time, just writing it and perfecting it. And yeah, we'll get that.
Yeah.
We'll get that. But now making sure these mechanics work and there's no hiccups, that's why we're doing this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is the first playtest.
Yeah.
Until this, it was conceptual.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool.
But anyway,
let me say goodbye. I'm going to stop the recording. Don't go anywhere yet. I'm going to stop the recording, though.